Welcome everyone to my SH Figuarts review for Venom from Venom Let There Be Carnage, as finally Bandai to Machinations have dived into the Sonyverse and given us Spider-Man's arch nemesis, the anti-hero, of course, in Venom. And honestly, I didn't enjoy the Venom movies, the first or the second one, but I think this look in live action is pretty amazing, and I think it has potential to go really well in my display with the Spider-Mans, and I'm sure Sony and Marvel are working on this Venom to meet the, of course, MCU Spider-Man. And this figure is pretty big, it's one of the tallest ones, so you can see that the packaging is one of the ones that you get, for example, in the Hulk figures, as it's such a big character. And the artwork is really nice. I really like this shot here, and then the title is big and bold, and then we have the usual stickers and logos on the packaging as well. And then on the side we have the title shot with the pictures, and it's the same on the other side, and then we have the pictures of the figure at the back. So we have a nice silver reflective background, and then we have the usual manual inside to show you how to put on the accessories. And here is the Venom figure inside its packaging. So now, before we take a look at the Venom figure itself, let's quickly browse through all the accessories that's included. Of course, this is a large figure, so there's not going to be any small weapons or loose accessories. They've kept it nice and simple. A couple of head sculpts, a few sets of hands, the tentacles, and the symbiote. So here is the first impressions of the Venom SH Figuarts right out of his packaging, and I must say to Machinations have done a pretty good job in representing the Venom look in the Sonyverse movies. And I say movies because I'm sure he had this look in both the first and the second film, and the proportions look right, he looks scary, he looks menacing, and that's what you want in a Venom figure. And Hasbro Marvel Legends did give us one a few years ago. That was a very good figure. In fact, I picked that up, but then I sold it because of this release. So hopefully I won't regret it, but I'm pretty sure that this does just as much as what the Hasbro one did. But the Marvel Legends one is a very good figure. The way they've painted it to give it that gluey type of look. And this one kind of has that same look. I think from afar, unless you had the figures side by side, I wouldn't be able to tell which one's Marvel Legends, which one's SH Figuarts. Maybe on closer inspection with all the joints, you can tell, because to Machinations, considering the cost, they should have probably better movement, and just everything should be in a bit more detailed. But in terms of like first look, without having the Marvel Legends here, I wouldn't be able to tell which is which. But this one seems to have a, even though it's in full black, it kind of has like a blue tint around it. And I'm sure that's what it's meant to be. Don't really remember the films because obviously I didn't really enjoy them. So I saw them once, and it was a lot of dark scenes as well, so you can't actually fully see what Venom looked like. But yeah, this is what they've gone for. And I think the head sculpt, which is obviously the standard one without showing any tongues, has a good look. The eyes, you can see that it's not just white, they've actually painted it kind of in a bluish tint as well towards the end. So it's got that grinning look, and obviously on the body we have all the white lines and patterns. Out of the box you do get this grapple hand, which is like the Marvel Legends. I think they gave us a fisted one and this one as well. And then looking at the back, you can see this is all the detail. And I'm pretty sure there's quite a lot of joints just by looking at it, so the articulation should be a lot of fun. So now we can test out the movement of this figure, and of course Venom is going to be in some sort of dynamic pose, whether he's jumping, crawling, kneeling. It seems a bit boring if he's just standing there, so I'm sure there's going to be plenty to play around with. So I'm going to test out the head sculpt first, and it can go side to side. And then of course it has a full rotation if you want, and then it can tilt sideways. Not really. This joint, you can see that it's kind of just rotating forwards and backwards, so it doesn't look like you're going to get like much of a turn left and right, so I was wrong on that. But it can go downwards quite a lot, and then backwards quite a lot as well, of course, especially for those jumping poses. And then we have the arms, so very smooth, in fact, side to side. and it has a full rotation on the arms, and then the lower half with the biceps there's a full swivel, and it also has a arm bend, and then it can go back out again. So very smooth in terms of the arms. And then the hands have rotation, there's a hinge left and right, or in and out shall I say, and then we have side to side for the top half of the body, and then tilt left and right, and then the body crunch goes forwards and backwards. So it does feel a lot like the Marvel Legends. I think that one had good articulation as well. And then legs, they go to the side, you can stretch, and then there's a full rotation on the leg, full knee bend very far back, and then I'm pretty sure the foot has swivel, it has a full hinge inside, and then there's a toe hinge as well. So if you can get this Venom in some sort of pose, I'm pretty sure it has a good look on it. So articulation wise, it's actually very smooth for a big figure, so I really like the way they've done this, and you can definitely play around with it to get it in some sort of crazy pose. So the only thing is the head doesn't really go side to side because it has this rotation which goes downwards and upwards, which is probably more important. So yeah, that's the articulation. So now we're going to swap out some of the accessories that's included, starting off with the head sculpt. So the one right out of the packaging is the Venom grinning look. It is pretty good, but it's definitely not as exciting as the ones they've also included. So let's swap out the first one. So here is the first alternative head sculpt that's included, and this is the one with the tongue out. And for me, it's more interesting, more exciting to have this look, and I feel that it has more of that trademark Venom look overall. Of course, the original one still has its advantages for certain poses, but obviously this one kind of upgrades that look. And here is the second alternative head sculpt, which also has the tongue out, but this time you can see that Venom has his mouth a lot wider, and this is probably the beast mode, the upgrade, kind of when he's fighting Carnage and he's going all out, or he's about to bite someone's head off. So this one just upgrades it even more in my opinion. But again, all three head sculpts have its advantages, so different poses with the different head sculpts. And for the alternative hands, we have a set of fisted hands. Of course, this is kind of your standard one for any SH Figuarts or figure in general. But the one right out of the box is the crawling hands, the open palms, which is the one that, in my opinion, I would use. But fisted hands is always needed, especially for those punches with Carnage. And the other set of alternative hands is a pair of pointing of the fingers, and this is very different to the other two. It's kind of Venom not in fight mode. When he's giving a talk or threatening the enemy, this is useful for it. So this one's very different, but also very useful. One other accessory which I think really upgrades this Venom figure and has its advantage over, say, the Marvel Legends, is they included a set of tentacles which is attached to the back of this figure. So we're going to do that now. And this is something that's quite similar to, say, the SH Figuarts Iron Spider. When you have to put on the spider legs, you just remove a back piece. So here are the tentacles on this Venom figure, and I think it really upgrades this look. It gives it that beast mode, the full power look, and it's ready to take on Carnage. And it really upgrades the display when you have the tentacles on. And I know that other companies, even Hasbro, have done this for, say, their Venom comic figures, but obviously their live action one, they didn't have it. So just comparing it with that one, I think this one wins just based on this tentacles. And it's a lot more flexible than I thought. You can turn it any way you want. There's full rotation. You can move it forwards, and then you can tilt it backwards, upwards, downwards. So there's a lot of freedom for you to play around with it and create all kinds of poses for this Venom figure. So I think extra points just because they've got this tentacle, and I think the Carnage one is even more crazier. So having both of them on display with their tentacles, I think it's going to look pretty amazing. So yeah, I'm really happy with what they've included here. I know that a lot of third-party companies also made like extra things for the Venom hands for the Marvel Legends version, and this is something that obviously Nations didn't do. They just given us the back tentacles, which I think is good enough already. And the final accessory we have is the Venom symbiote, and this is a very important look, and it's another way of having its advantage over the other Venom figures out there is to have this look, and I think it's a very cool looking accessory to have. It's always nice to get some sort of accessory that's separate from the figure itself and you don't need to attach it to it, and this is what it brings to the table. And I think the sculpt is nice, the paint is good, and you can see that it is on a transparent stand. That's the only way they could have done it. In the promo shots we saw this paired up with a prototype figure, just a body, and this is what it's used for. And I think you can actually pair up with any figure you want as an enemy or as a normal civilian. It may have hints that they may give us Eddie Brock, but I very doubt it. I don't think that figure would sell if they just released like a Eddie Brock figure. So we're just going to have to do with this and maybe just throw in some sort of civilian. And this is my promo of Venom meeting Spider-Man very soon. So yeah, obviously he shouldn't be smiling with a Venom symbiote right next to him, but you get the idea. And now for some quick side-by-side comparisons with a couple of live-action Spider-Man figures, with the Spider-Man 2 from the Toy Biz line on the left and the Spider-Man integrated suit from the SH Figuarts line on the right. And even though I do prefer Venom in a supporting role, like say Spider-Man 3 the movie, I do like this look a lot better. But you can see you can pair it up with the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man and it would still work. And here it is next to some Hasbro Marvel Legends with the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man and the Spider-Man Homecoming Peter Parker. Here it is next to some Medicom Mafex with the Infinity War Doctor Strange and the Avengers Endgame 4. So now for my final thoughts, this is a very good figure of Venom from Venom Let There Be Carnage. Ever since the promo photos, this was reflected on this actual product. So the sculpts, the paint, the accessories is what I imagined it would be. I say the head sculpts are excellent. All three have their own different looks for different poses. We have the hands as well, and of course the tentacles. And I think for the tentacles, it really upgrades this figure by a lot. And now I don't regret selling my Marvel Legends. It's now probably ready to fight Carnage, but there are still some improvements which I will talk about later on. But let's first add the icing on the cake for this figure, and that is the symbiote. This is a great addition. It's something I don't see that often in Venom figures. Comment down below if you know any other Venom figure that has this type of accessory. Revoltech, Mafex, anyone, or maybe it's only exclusive in this movie. It is priced at 12,650 yen, which is around 75 US dollars. So plus shipping for those overseas, this might be close to 100. And I got it for 75, so it's mid-range. It's not top pricing, but it's also not on the cheaper end. So I say think about it if you have the Marvel Legends already, but this one is certainly better. And now for the improvements, I would have added a half Eddie Brock, half Venom face sculpt. That would have been real awesome. And maybe some hand weapons, which I think we had for the Marvel Legends made by a third party. And I would have been happy to pay more for this figure if we had those two accessories. Maybe also add a stand. They keep promoting this with the Carnage in the exhibitions to recreate that scene. And there is a stand on that figure, so for some reason they don't include it in the final product. But other than that, I don't have much to complain. Overall, it's a 8 out of 10. It's a solid piece, plenty of poses it can do. And with that upcoming Carnage figure or any of the Spider-Man figures, it's going to look good on your display. So that wraps up my Venom Let There Be Carnage unboxing and review. We now hit the end of the year, well almost. I will still be looking to post some stuff before 2023, so stay tuned for that. But of course the focus is on those Spider-Man No Way Home figures. Like and subscribe to my channel and check out those Spider-Man content with the links in the description, and bye for now.